so far they haven't responded. And before I start sending annoying multiple text messages, if I can touch base.
I know I always hold that seat, the two seats open.
Yeah.
You can't walk. So.
Now, is that the karaoke thing?
No.
No, okay.
Something since we finished this format of life up in Scotland. Which is, that's the one you've seen it right now. And of course, they're always showing us somebody behind
I missed that because I had a board meeting. Yeah, we used to go to the Westfield High concerts all the time. Yeah. They virtually dropped the string. So she picked up the French one. Mr. Gann. Mr. Gann was one of the middle school. He was a middle school. Yeah, he was middle school. His son was a year older than
Good morning. Welcome to First Parish Brewster. We are a welcoming Unitarian Universalist congregation of people of diverse philosophies and beliefs, people of various cultures and races, sexual orientations, gender identities, abilities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your journey, may this be a place of rest and restoration. I'm Twinks Hastings, the Director of Lifespan Religious Education, happy to be welcoming you to worship this morning with our interim minister, Rev. Karen Anderson. Our services are recorded and available on the YouTube channel midweek. Masks are optional in worship, although we do have a spot in the back right-hand corner for folks who would like to wear masks, and it's a requirement back there. Here at First Parish, we welcome and celebrate the noises, movement, and mirth that little ones bring to our service as equal and valuable members of our community. However, please do silence your cell phones. For those of you who are visitors this morning, welcome. If you would like to learn a little more about First Parish, you can fill out a welcome card, which you can find in your pew, and place it into the offertory basket. A big welcome to those streaming at home. Wave to them, as is our tradition. And we have one announcement from Rev. Karen.
Carl Weiss's sister, Karen, who's been coming to church for a long time, just got admitted to a memory care unit, which is really good for Karen. But when I was talking to Carl about what she would really like in this transition, she loves to open mail. So I made 100 Valentines that are at the end of your pews. And if you guys would just take a moment and write a sweet note to Karen, that would be great. You can put them in these little baskets here, and we'll make sure that they get mailed out. Okay?
Welcome to worship. It is so good to be together.
Good morning. When I was whoa, Ricky. Hello. Is that better? Okay, good. When I was the minister at First Unitarian in Rochester, New York, I worked with a reproductive rights task force, and we did many things. We had free condoms in all the bathrooms, and we did a lot of rallies. I went to Albany with Clergy for Choice, and actually in that congregation, we started an after-abortion, non-judgmental talk line called Connect and Breathe that services all of the East Coast and the South. And it's been going for 12 years now on its own. Anyway, while I was there, Eliot Spitzer was the governor of New York, right? But his wife, Silda Wall Spitzer, was also an attorney. And at the time, she was working with a lot of women's groups in order to talk about moving the abortion laws and code from the penal code to the civil code. And so we had her come and speak at the church. Well, of course, it was a big event. We did it along with Planned Parenthood, and the place was packed. And there were security for her because she was the governor's wife. And outside in February, there were all these protesters standing next to the driveway with their signs that were anti-choice signs, right? And yelling at people as they're driving in. So while Silda's talking, I'm in the back standing, and I am kind of whining to one of the members of the reproductive task force, and I'm like, God, I can't believe they're out there, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going on and on. I'm sure I was going on and on. Anyway, and I say to her, I can't believe they're out there when it's this cold. And she looks at me and she says, it is really cold. I should make some hot chocolate and bring it out to them. And I was like, oh, well, okay, that's a good idea. And, Karin, they're doing exactly what you would do. They have a right to be on public property, calm yourself down, right? So by the time I had calmed myself down, she is wheeling out an enormous pot of hot chocolate to these protesters outside, and I had one of those moments of holy crap, these people make me way better of a person than I can get on my own. Honestly, I think that's one of the reasons that we come to church. To push each other to live into our better selves rather than our worse selves. And trust me, I know it's not always easy to get there, but with encouragement and patience, I am positive we can. So welcome to this place that definitely rattles your cage, but does so with glee and camaraderie. Before we sing our first hymn, would you guys please rise and greet your neighbor?
Good morning, everyone. If you would please join us in the gray hymnal, number 118, This Little Light of Mine, all three verses.
This
My friend Edie is going to come and light our chalice for us. And so we light our chalice this morning as we gather into the circle of care to dream, to envision, to embody and achieve the compassion we dream of, the justice we envision, the dignity in each of us in an ever-growing circle of love and justice. Thank you, Edie. Please join us in our unison affirmation. We believe in love.
Love is the doctrine of this church.
We believe in truth.
The quest for truth is its sacrament.
We believe in helping others.
And service is our prayer.
We believe in the sacredness of life.
To the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine.
Thank you. So, this morning is the first Sunday of the month, which means we have a new theme. Does anyone know what the theme is? You can read the top of your order of service here for a clue. Justice and equity is our theme. And so, one thing that happened, do you all remember back in the day of the tomato soup cupcakes? Yeah. I have not heard the end of that. So this morning, I brought pizza. Because pizza is good. And I heard that the choir had been working so hard on these songs. There are 4 of them that are particularly hungry, so if you want to join me, my 4 pizza hungry friends. Wait, that's 3. Who was number 4? Oh.
I can eat 2 pieces.
Dave, you were number 4. All right. So, here we have our 4 people who are hungry for pizza. And how many slices are in a pizza? 8. Right. So, what is the fair way to break up this pizza? 2 slices each. Okay. You may not like it, but it's fair to give everyone 2 slices of pizza. So whilst you look at your pizza, why don't you tell us a little more about yourselves?
Well, this isn't great for me, Twinks.
Why?
Well, I'm gluten-free, everybody. I'm gluten-free.
I am really excited about this meal. I haven't had breakfast. I haven't had dinner. I mean, I haven't been paid yet.
I'm not gluten-free, but my wife is, so whenever I get gluten in pizza, I'm especially happy. You want just to read this now? Oh, okay. Got the lines, but no cue. You play on the football team and are coming here straight from practice.
Oh, we have a football player coming straight from practice. It's okay. You can be Caesar next week. It's okay.
I am 2. I don't like pizza.
You're 2 years old and you don't like pizza so much? Okay, so given that Laura hasn't eaten for 2 days, and Dave is gluten-free, and John has just come from football practice, and Deb is 2 and doesn't particularly care for pizza, do we still think everyone should have 2 slices of pizza? No. All right, so what's a better way to split up this pizza? So this is equal, okay? Everyone has 2 slices of pizza. But can we think of a better way to maybe share this pizza?
According to their needs.
According to our needs. So maybe, Deb, you're not feeling pizza this morning? Why don't you give your pizza to John, because he's done a lot of footballing this morning. Is that what it's called? Sports balling. And You don't eat gluten. That's going to make you sick. So why don't you give your pizza to Laura, who hasn't been able to buy food all week because she didn't get paid? All right. So this is not equal, right? Because Deb has nothing to eat, and Dave has nothing to eat, but our folks in the middle there have something to eat. And this is what equity can look like. So it's everybody getting what they need, and that very often does not look like equal. So equal does not equal equity. And there's another part of this, which is if we were looking at a more justice model, or a way to make this whole pizza sharing really look like good practice of justice, we'd have enough pizza for the whole choir, because they're all hungry for pizza. And we'd have a gluten-free pizza for Dave. And we'd have chicken nuggets for Deb. Tomato cupcakes for dessert. And everybody would get what they need to solve their hunger, to make them feel good, that they've had a meal, that they're nourished. But it's going to look different for everybody. And that is true in life so much. People come from different backgrounds. We all are made up of different parts of ourselves, our gender, what country we come from, what our color is, what our race is. All of these factors play into how life works for us. And the truth is, sometimes life is not fair. And some people start a little bit behind and don't have the same resources that is often available to other people. So when we are thinking about how to be a people of justice and equity, we have to remember that equity does not look like equal, and fair does not always look like everybody getting the same thing. And with that, my friend Grace is going to light our lantern for us, and we're going to carry the light of this love down into our children's space. And we're going to take the pizza because, that feels pretty fair. All right, you want to throw that in there?
This is a time in our service where we offer our heartfelt gratitude to organizations in our community that help the least of these. This morning's offering is a split plate with the NAACP Cape Cod branch. Cape Cod chapter of the NAACP was founded in 1961. Its mission is to end racial discrimination and segregation in all public aspects of American life. This chapter encompasses all 15 Cape Cod towns. There are many ways in order to contribute and give generously to our offertory. One is, in fact, being able to text, so please check out your order service if you would choose to do it that way. This time I'd like to invite the ushers forward. May we take the offering mindfully and gratefully. like to invite you to join with me in the spirit of prayer and meditation, followed by some shared silence. Please get comfortable in your seat and take a deep breath in with me now. Share with you these words by Reverend Joan Javier Duval. In these times in which the ground feels shaky and our hands and feet unsteady, we turn to you, Spirit of compassion, for we do not know what the future holds. Truly, we can never know. And we need strength in these times of uncertainty. We need the strength and the fortitude to hold on, to see clearly, to reach out in love. May we find guidance within ourselves and beyond ourselves. May we be restless for truth when truth is cast aside. And in all of this, may love rule our hearts. May we know the source of love within us and stay grounded in that. As we grieve, as we grapple with the unknown, as we work towards creating a more just, peaceful, and sustainable present and future together. May it be. Amen. May the silence we have shared continue to hold and heal us all. Amen. Share with you a reading that comes from the New Yorker by the writer Jill Lepore. This was written right before Roe fell. It's called, "Of Course the Constitution Has Nothing to Say About Abortion." She wrote this: "Within a matter of months, women in about half of the U.S. may be breaking the law if they decide to end a pregnancy. This will be in large part because Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito is surprised that there is so little written about abortion in a 4,000-word document crafted by 55 men in 1787. As it happens, there is also nothing at all in that document about pregnancy, uteruses, vaginas, fetuses, placentas, menstrual blood, breasts, or breast milk. There's nothing in that document at all about women. Most consequentially, there is nothing in that document or in the circumstances under which it was written that suggests its authors imagined women as part of the political community embraced by the phrase, "we the people." There were no women among the delegates to the Constitutional Convention. There were no women among the hundreds of people who participated in ratifying conventions in the states. There were no women judges. There were no women legislators. At the time, women could neither hold office nor run for office, except in New Jersey, which was fleetingly, women could not vote. Legally, most women did not exist as persons. Because these facts appear to surprise Alito, abortion is likely to become a crime in at least 20 states this spring. Here ends this morning's reading. It was a cloudy day yesterday, though I'm getting used to cloudy days on Cape Cod. I did come from Florida, by the way, so this is a big difference. But it was a cloudy day yesterday, and I felt my spirit was cloudy because I reread that article, and I got myself to that same place that when I read it for the first time, I cried. And that doesn't normally happen to me when you're reading something like that, but it did. It's just hard to confront that feeling, actually. It's not a feeling, it's really a present-day reality. The reality that for many, women don't matter in the great scheme of things. Women matter when it comes to our organs, but when it comes to our personhood, then no. Indeed, by the 100th day after the Dobbs decision, nearly 22 women of reproductive age, almost 1 of 3 women, found themselves living in states where abortion was unavailable or severely restricted. So let me get straight to my point today. Contrary to popular thought, this recent fight over reproductive rights isn't really about preventing abortion as much as it is, honestly, a war on women. At every turn, there is fear and aggression and dirty tricks. The larger overarching patriarchy seems to be punishing women for being the one and only human which harbors and controls life. And the clouds are coming from the medical, legal, political, and religious areas. I want to share with you a few facts, some dark clouds that have happened in the medical world to get at what I'm talking about and how dangerous this is for women. You see, the medical implications of being pregnant post-Roe go well beyond what happens in abortion clinics. Doctors and lawyers in many states, in about 20 right now, are trying to come up with guidelines on how to comply with laws that prohibit abortion except to save the life of a pregnant woman. And these physicians and legal experts face the daunting task of trying to clearly define, like, all the emergencies and conditions that might be categorized as saving the life of a mother. And yet, their standard, right, depending on what state they are in, isn't a medical or scientific one, but a guessing game about how a non-medical legal prosecutor and attorney would view their decision because doctors in 20 states can be punished or sent to jail if the prosecutor disagrees with what a doctor considers a threat to a mother's life. I don't know about you, but I'd rather rely on a doctor to make that call about whether my health and life is in jeopardy rather than an attorney who didn't go to medical school and may have flunked bio and sure as hell didn't pass organic chemistry. The new laws and new battleground is also expanding beyond abortion clinics in Texas, of course, but then Indiana, or Idaho and Missouri and Oklahoma, just to name a few. Oncologists say that if they have a pregnant patient with cancer, they now wait until she gets sicker before they will treat her. Mainly because usually to treat the pregnant woman who has cancer, the standard of care is to abort the fetus to reduce complications and increase the likelihood of success of the cancer treatment. But as one journalist wrote, this stuff blows your mind. A state law in Texas allows abortion only at risk of death. So some hospitals have established committees to evaluate whether a pregnancy has complications, like a cancer diagnosis and the need for treatment, is severe enough to justify an abortion. Notice how concern for the efficacy of the cancer treatment for the pregnant woman falls completely out of the picture. The question, it seems, is only, is she going to die for sure? As one doctor in Texas commented, a lot of us go into emergency medicine because of the imperative to take care of the patient, whether that is someone without a house or a CEO, and we're really proud of that ethical obligation to say, here's the patient in front of me, and I am going to do everything I can for them. But we're no longer basing our judgments on the clinical needs of women. We're basing it on what we understand the legal situation to be. Or as a neonatologist commented, we already work under a cloud of getting sued. That's what we signed up for. But this is different. This is criminal liability, not civil liability. This is jail time. Okay, so I want you to hear something in this. This is taking away a woman's right to decide if she wants to start cancer treatment and replacing it with the legal or medical establishment making that decision for her. And friends, if that doesn't shake you up, maybe this will. Let's take the legal and political world of dark clouds. In Florida, a pregnant 16-year-old was denied a waiver to get an abortion after a court deemed she did not prove that she was mature enough to make the decision to have an abortion or not. The judge presiding over the case found that the teenager, in his words, had not established by clear and convincing evidence that she was sufficiently mature to decide whether to terminate her pregnancy. Okay, I'm going to say this, right? Because the question needs to be asked. How is it possible to have less maturity needed to have a baby or raise a child over deciding to have an abortion? And I don't know about you, but the most grown-up thing I have ever done in my life, where it took maturity and resolve, where it took fortitude and hard work, where it took showing up as the adult in the room, whether I wanted to be that adult in the room, wasn't when I signed a mortgage or I got married or I was paying off my student loan debt. No, the most mature thing I have ever had to do was being a mom. Motherhood takes every ounce of responsibility and sacrifice and maturity that I can muster at times, even when I have adult children now. In Idaho and Texas, lawmakers passed bounty bills that would allow a private citizen to sue anyone who helps a resident obtain an abortion out of state. As one journalist points out, criminalization in 2023 went far beyond individual punishment. The broader goal is to stop us from helping each other in a moment when help is needed most. There were bills to ban pro-choice websites, local ordinances that made loaning someone money or sharing information about abortion illegal, even a law in Idaho that would punish professors with prison time for promoting abortion. One of my favorite contemporary historians, Heather Cox Richardson, pointed out that there are 51 jurisdictions that passed ordinances to make it illegal to transport anyone on roads within city or county limits to get an abortion in Texas. Their hope is to target interstates and the roads around airports to block off routes out of Texas and keep pregnant women trapped in the anti-abortion state. Now, here's what she says about all of this, and I really want you to listen to this, okay? She says, such barriers are precisely the same as those for people trying to leave authoritarian countries. Someone who is prohibited from leaving a jurisdiction is not a citizen, but a subject. Free and full citizens of democracy have the right to travel both inside the country and out of it. That right is guaranteed by the U.S. citizens, for U.S. citizens by the Constitution. But authoritarian countries often restrict travel for their subjects outside of their borders out of concern that exposure to freer countries will weaken the authority of government at home. Crucially, authoritarian countries also urge people to turn on each other, reporting them to the state for punishment, often in exchange for a reward. Such a system breaks the ability of opponents to organize to resist the government because of the risk that their neighbors will sell them out. So I read that and I thought to myself, what is one of the best examples of that happening? And I thought of Germans who lived before World War II and during World War II, and stories that harkened back that citizens would turn their neighbors in for a reward. And it made me think of if I were German at that time, right? And I wanted to help somebody who was considered an enemy of the state, right? You could be Jewish, you could be gay, you could be an academic. And if I tried to get you out of the country, or if I tried to make false documents for you, I had to be incredibly careful, of course, because there were eyes on me all the time. My neighbors were watching for me, and they could easily turn me in. And when they did, well, in Germany, we know what happened to people, right? But also they turned me in and they'd get a reward for it. Let us not forget that this bounty bill is not a new concept in the United States. In 1850, the U.S. government actually offered a payment, a bounty for capturing and returning fugitives from slavery. It was called the Fugitive Slave Act. If you got caught, you could be fined up to $1,000. Now, I'm sure in 1850, $1,000 was a lot of money, right? The current Texas county bill offers $10,000 to a private citizen who can sue anyone for aiding or abetting a woman in getting an abortion. Now, I know that you can look at all of this and say, well, okay, they're passing laws that are unconstitutional, but they'll be overturned eventually. Perhaps in some states that's true, in others it is not. But honestly, I don't think that's the point. The point is, if you can scare the pants off of people and get them terrified that there will be criminal consequences for getting an abortion, performing an abortion, or helping anyone get an abortion, in the end, you don't need to enforce abortion bans because people on their own will become stagnant with fear and unable to act. And in the process, you have, in effect, sabotaged the entire premise and point of a free and vibrant democracy. You could, I guess, also argue as well that it's not that bad. I mean, mainly because not all states have banned abortion, and there wasn't a morning after pill when Roe, went through, or a pill to take to medically abort a fetus without surgery even like 15 years ago. So I get that argument. But with the addition of all these other legal and political and medical aspects, I can't help think that while it's not worse than before Roe, it is far more reaching and more broadly infiltrating women's lives. Now, it's more than just abortion. What I hear, actually, is something new in this. I think this has moved beyond an old argument about when life begins and when is a fetus viable. Instead, more and more, all of this feels like it is not about protecting babies, but rather pushing pregnancy, which is about control. Yeah. But it's also still bigger than that. Because if your laws effectively take away a woman's will and agency, take away a woman's right to assess the risk of medical procedures for herself, take away a woman's ability to shape her future, take away a woman's ability to travel, to cross over to another state without fear of retribution, as is prevalent in authoritarian countries, well then, I don't know about you, but all that sounds to me like this has gone way beyond an effort to protect babies and feels a lot closer to being about the removal of personhood for women. And I know that sounds harsh. Here's the thing. If it were about protecting babies, then curtailing the need ever for an abortion and to make sure all babies are wanted, well, there are other ways to go about doing that, right? For instance, you're going to think I'm insane, but hang with me. You could make sure that all 15-year-old boys get vasectomies. You just could. Right? You could put their sperm in a sperm bank for future, and when the time comes for reproduction, they could just reverse the vasectomy. And if that doesn't work for some reason, then they can take out their donation from the sperm bank. If it's truly about protecting babies, that actually would be a surefire way of never having an unintended pregnancy, and thus making it possible for all children to be wanted and planned for, and ultimately the need for an abortion would be eliminated. But I don't think it's about babies anymore. With the reversal of Roe, you're pretty much saying that states are allowed to mandate that as soon as a sperm infiltrates an egg, that act alone changes the nature of the conversation of women's agency. By the way, they are going to start going after contraception very soon. In fact, it pretty much puts a woman's agency in the hands of the government, medical professionals, or the courts to determine a woman's future. In some cases, all three of those things. So in the end, it's not about babies. It's about stripping women of their personhood. It's bringing us back to those days where documents about, written to govern the land and to govern the people didn't even bother to mention anything about half of the population because they didn't matter. There was no female in We the People. With the reversal of Roe, I do believe it has spilled dangerously close to a movement that has taken away the personhood of women. For me, that is frightening. And there's a lot at stake in that. And just speaking for myself, it terrifies me. Especially if we don't all see that and this as terrifying. So my question is, what do we do, friends? Seems to me if the fight is bigger than we thought, as I said, because it's much larger than abortion, and because of that, it's going to require a bigger community of resistance than we imagined. I've just begun to think about what this means for those of us in a blue state, right? Where all this can feel actually sometimes far away. And right away, there's been a voice from another corner of my head that says, you can't figure out what this community of resistance should look like all on your own, Karen. That voice in my head is right. I can't figure it out by myself. So, my friends, this sermon can't end as sermons are supposed to do with a call to action. But I want to end it with a call for help. Your help. I cannot fight or be part of a feminist resistance on my own. But together, we can map out some actions and awareness activities and solidarity options. I have a sign-up sheet, by the way, when you come through the line, if you're at all interested in joining together to just start thinking through some things that we might be able to do together to rally around reproductive justice. And just come together for an initial brainstorm. That's going to be the first step, my friends. And I'm hoping that together we can offer each other a little sunshine of ideas, resistance, hope, and promise amidst these dark clouds. About a year ago, I wrote this poem. And it was for me a way for me to voice my own fear and defiance around this issue. And throughout the poem, I used the singular. I cowered and I shrank. I glittered and glowed. But what it really needs is a different tone, a different ending to charge us forward. So I've changed the singular reference to we as a way to put forward my hope for what might be possible for us to create in solidarity and in love. You do not get to tell us that we're broken, we're shameful, we're yours. We reject your disgust, your moral indignation. We are not property nor possession, not a game to be played, not a trinket for display. This land is not your land. This ground of sinew and tendons, of wombs and rebellion, this land, these bodies of ours are home, home to the free and the brave. These organs are ours that held, nourished, awakened, and brought forth glorious life. Isn't yours to stab a flag into, stake your claim, or brand for your liking. There was a brief time where we believed your bullshit and lies. We cowered and shrank, we shriveled and sank. But you did not capture our light. You did not assuage our fight. See here, we glitter and glow with a flame way beyond your birthright or might to claim our sovereign selves, belonging divinely to sisters united. May we lasso the sun, my friends, in sisterhood, in love, and in healing. May it be so. Amen. Thank you. Would you please rise as you are willing and able and join in our final hymn, number 1026, If Every Woman in the World.
If
Would you please join hands for the closing words? We are. Whatever we can do or dream we can do, let us begin it. Boldness has genius and power and magic in it. May we ever be bold in our living and in our loving. Can I hear an amen? Amen. Amen.